What is going on, guys? Joey Franz here at FLEXX Training Systems. This time, actually on camera, although very small on my end, with Jesus and Isaac. Um, we did the Q&A with Chris and Cam, and I figured why not get the boys in there, get all the coaches in there eventually, and just have them kind of take the reins. I'm just going to facilitate the questions that you guys submitted through my last Instagram, Q&A thingy. Um, and I'm just gonna give Isaac and Jesus a chance to kind of, uh, give their side and let them kind of you guys get to know the personality a little bit. Um, but yeah, the first question, and then so what I'll do is I'll go through the questions and then I'll say we'll start with Isaac and then we'll finish with Jesus and then the next question we'll start with Jesus and go back to Isaac, stuff like that. So first question, do you guys have any advice for a beginner lifter that, let's say, they know how to SBD, but they haven't really gone through their noob gains yet, like, and they're just like kind of lost on what they should do, like should they hire a coach and what kind of program should they be doing? I will start with Isaac.
Okay, newbie guy. So, I guess, like you said, it depends on your situation. So, if you have the current money to hire a coach, I think it can definitely be beneficial if that doesn't burden you. But the biggest thing that I would say is to just have fun with it. It's a lot easier when things are. Hold on, my brother.
Take over, Jesus. Take over. Should we
All right,
end?
all right.
No, he's back.
I'll
He's
be all
back.
right.
He's back.
My bad.
No worries.
But you have to have fun with it, and this is gonna be the only time in your lifting career where you're gonna make extreme strides very fast, not really be hurt. You're just gonna be a demon forever. So you just have to you have to enjoy the time that you have there now. But definitely having structure to your lifting makes it so much more enjoyable. So whether that be a coach or a program or something like that, as long as you have a structure and you are enjoying it, then I wouldn't stress out too much about it. But if you're new and you enjoy the coaching aspect and you kind of are able to do that thing that's financially a little bit hard on some people, then I think absolutely it's worth it, and it can speed up your beginning process and make it even more fun because you have someone very high up.
Jesus, what do you think for new guys? You got any advice for them?
Yeah, I would. I agree 100% with what Isaac said. For me, I guess I'll just speak from my experience. It's so I coached myself for 7 months, right? So for 7 months, I was like, okay, I want to do strength sports, powerlifting was the only thing I could do because a commercial gym. That's what makes it so accessible, right? Because you just need a bar and some plates. So I coached myself for 7 months. I got myself up to, I think before we started, we were at 715 or something, and
Yeah.
then a sloppy 465, and then I think a 765 deadlift. But at the point, this is when I was getting to be more involved and just educate myself and who's who, what is the community behind powerlifting, USAPL, USPA, and just really understanding the difference. And from the very get go, and I guess I can credit this to just the relationship I had with my football coach, right? Because he was able to bring the best out from within myself, right? Because I was 5'10", 265, so you could say I had a pretty good body, right, to play line, but I didn't understand the, how do I say this, how to be aggressive
Mhm.
and the difference between turning it on and turning it off. And he was able to teach me that. So that I was, from that point, I was able to be okay, I need somebody who's going to be able to guide me, mentor me, keep me on my path, and keep me accountable.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, I just felt it in my heart, I need Joseph Franzo, I need Joey FLEXX. This guy needs to be my coach. And if you would have put me with anybody else, I would have just kind of gone, wherever the wind took me. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad that things worked the way it did. But for me, I've always had like this understanding that you need somebody in your life who's been around the block. You need someone who has been to where you want to go, right? And from that point, I knew like, okay, raise the standard and world championships is what I wanted. At that point, I think you had just come back from winning. This was in 2019, so you had just won worlds
Yeah.
with Amanda. Russ beat Gibbs. Um, John had no. Okay, I think this was a little later. I'm getting my timeline confused,
Yeah,
but
no, that was
20,
2020. That was 2019 for sure. 2018, I had a lot of juniors win. I had like 6 or 7
yeah,
juniors win.
yeah.
But Russ took second, and I don't think I had Amanda yet. 20.
So
Well,
maybe with
2019, I had Danny and Amanda, so it was like, bruh,
yeah,
like it
yeah,
was crazy. You know what I mean? So it was those were those are good times. But I'll let you continue.
yeah. So like I just knew you had been at the level that I wanted to compete at, and you've done really, really well. So at this point, I watched a bunch of your videos. I wanted to get to know you better without actually like forming a relationship, getting like an idea of who you were.
Which is kind of what we're doing right now with them, with
Yeah,
my YouTube, talking to you guys. Like you guys get to see what Jesus is like, you guys get to see what Isaac is like, and I know a lot of times, people they're signing up a newer lifter signing up for a coach, and they don't really know what they sound like or how they are, and they're kind of like intimidated a little bit, maybe. You know what I mean? So this is exactly, basically what I feel like Jesus is saying is like you want to do your due diligence. You don't just want to like hire a random person, and because I'm kind of like cutting off Jesus' answer, but I'm just repeating what he's saying. Like,
yeah,
it is so important, and I said this about Pablo. I said there are so many young lifters that are like they're like a stem cell. They could become anything. They could become like a West Side enthusiast. They could become a high school equip lifter. They could become a raw aesthetic powerlifting god. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that they could become, and if they go with the wrong community, like you said, or environment, like you said, um, I mean, they could get injured. They just don't know any better. And there's a lot of lifters. I mean, me being old as shit now, all the other generations I've seen, um, there's a lot of lifters that from like 10 years ago, like on my mind, I'm just thinking of them. They like got injured. They burnt out. They went to the dark side, and then they just kind of fell off. There's one lifter who I'll never forget who I was very close with that like once he got to the open I guess I truly felt like he felt like the open was so far from him right now that he just like gave up. Like it was like so I didn't work with this person, but I knew him as a person, like as a friend, and like he was really cool to be around. It was like once he got into the open, I was like fuck. Like he just was like I can never be that, so I'm just gonna give up. But it's super important as a beginner, um, to do exactly what Jesus was saying, and what Isaac was saying too. I like how you guys gave kind of a different answer. Like Isaac's answer was more like finding the structure, getting guidance early on can be really important, and then Jesus is really on the personal side. Um, so I think that was really great from both of you guys, and I'll kind of take us to the next question. Which a beginner with the coach can really get through this next question a little bit easier. Can you guys think of a really bad injury experience and like kind of how you got through that? So the way the person asked the question was like really specific, but like we don't know this person, so we can't give them like a good answer. But we could speak from our own experiences, and I'll start with Jesus. I think your back was messed up, right? And then
yeah.
we'll go to Isaac.
Okay, so at the very beginning of my powerlifting journey, so like literally like 2 months in, uh, I suffered like I don't know what the diagnosis was because I never got it checked out. So like at the time I didn't really have the funds or the access to like a doctor or a
Mm.
chiropractor or anything of that sort. So my best friend was literally Google and YouTube, right? So I hurt my back deadlifting, something slipped. I felt like my entire right leg like completely almost go numb, and it just literally hurt to do anything. Getting in the car was hell. But my mentality at this point was running through my head. It's natural to have a lot of doubt. It
Mhm.
really is. Like, you shouldn't get scared, and I think this is something that you learn as you mature as a lifter, is like not to get scared, because the first thing to set in is like the panic. It's like, oh shit, man, like you have all these plans, and anything from like a mild injury to like it just derails everything. Like, you kind of have to like erase everything, start over, and just focus on rehab. So I guess it's like the best thing you can do is, like, if you have funds or you can have access to a doctor and get a professional diagnosis, then I would straight off the bat like recommend that, just because if you can pinpoint like as accurate as like what your ailment is, then you can like kind of strategize a plan of attack to rehab and get better, right? But if you don't have access to that, and you're kind of like where I was in the beginning of my journey, then kind of try to the whole my whole understanding of rehab is like doing what you can pain free. So it's like, if you hurt your back, maybe don't deadlift, don't squat. Try to see if you can do some back extensions, just weight free, so you can just kind of work on the contraction. And that's just like, you try to attack your weaknesses, right? Because I guess that's pretty much all. Like, the best advice I can give on that is just try to find out what's wrong, and then develop a course, like a plan of attack. Because I feel like that's something that a lot of people miss out on when they get hurt. It's like their mentality changes from like offensive to defensive. But if you can keep like an offensive mindset during your ailment or your injury,
Mhm.
I think it helps you stay mentally intact, because there's like an entire psychological side of that, right? Like, are you gonna quit? Like, what are you gonna do? But if you can just stay on the offensive and be like, okay, if I do this, this, and that, and you just kind of take it week by week, day by day, like, your result is going to be a hell of a lot better than if you just kind of like you just float. That's my
Yeah.
best advice.
And a lot of that is like mental. Like if you fall apart mentally, you're everything's gonna fall apart. So
Yeah.
you could be really messed up but have good mentals and be solid. Isaac, do you have any advice for someone that might be dealing with like an injury that's like beyond a strain? I know you're dealing with something right now yourself. So what advice would you give to a lifter that's dealing with something a little bit more serious? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I did really like what Jesus said with like stay on the offensive. And it's kind of like if you move, you like if you don't move, you die. And I was like, I went to the beach today, and I was like, I'm walking on the beach, and my feet are hurting, right? Like it hurts to walk because the beach is hot. And so if you just kind of sit there and then like dig your feet in, it's nice and cool, but you don't go anywhere. And so like I was like literally thinking of this analogy on the beach, not related to this conversation at all. And I was like, man, like it hurts to walk, yes, but I'm going forward, and eventually I can find sand that is not as hot. And so then I just like continue to move and walk and just think about, oh yeah, my feet hurt, but like I can continue to move forward, and like it's not killing me. It does hurt a little bit, but it's way better than just like digging my feet into the cooler, like underneath sand. And so I think that like that's like so true with injuries, where it's like if you kind of like really just like start feeling bad for yourself, like it's not gonna get better. And so you have to focus on what you can do that
Mhm.
is like injury free and will help you and will keep your mentals safe. The other thing too that like has kind of always helped my mindset is, I know it might sound silly to some, but plan for injuries. Like if you go into like powerlifting and expect to never go through an injury, when you go through an injury, it's gonna suck. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna hurt you mentally a lot more than if you're like, okay, I'm gonna play things safe, and I understand that injuries can happen. I'm gonna do what I can to prevent them. I'm gonna like stay on my recovery and everything like that. But like you also have to come to peace with like, okay, an injury can happen and it will be steps back, but it's absolutely okay. And if you can be okay with that in your mind, then it's still going to be hard when you're going through the
Yeah.
injury, but it's going to be a lot less hard because you know that this is like part of the process, and you can like continue to go past where you were before.
Yeah, that was great. I really like that sand analogy. And you know, yeah, lifters feel like they're invincible. Like for example, and one thing that I'm very big on like you want to be confident in your abilities, but you also want to be humble. And when I see pages reposting like Jesus and tagging me and saying like strongest in the world, like da 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 da, the strongest gym, and like yeah, those are great things. But guess what? This shit could end tomorrow. This shit could fucking end tomorrow. You know what I mean? You never want to get like so cocky. You feel like you're invincible. You're feeling beat. You know you're feeling beat. You know you didn't sleep, but you go in the gym anyway and you fucking load up some big shit and then you snap. You know what I mean? Like you have to respect your body, and I think that's something that Jesus had showed me really early on. Is with him specifically, like when I first started talking to him, is that he always respected his body and he wouldn't push through pain. By the way, Isaac's injury is not like a powerlifting thing. I actually believe that if you powerlift like correctly, I mean, you eventually might get little knickknacks here and there, but it's very, very hard to like seriously hurt yourself. I mean, anything can happen, of course. Those are like 1 in 1,000, like 1 in a 10,000 chance. But like, it's usually something chronic. Like lifters don't want to take it easy or they push it too hard. I mean, one of the things I'm dealing with right now is it's been like a slow build up over 10 years. You know what I mean? Um, it's not something that just like suddenly happened. You know what I mean? It initially suddenly happened, and then 10 years of being a power lifter. I truly believe that on my little frame, I should not. My body when I was born, my body was not like ready to squat 750 one day. Like I'm not that big. You know what I mean? So it just you push yourself to the limit, and your body will adapt to whatever it is, and no top lifter that I know. I cannot think of a top lifter right now, unless they're like super new, that has not been hurt. Like I could just go down the list, like, and everybody gets hurt somehow. But you manage it, and most of the time it's muscular, and muscles heal really easy. Like so you like 99.9% of the time you're gonna come out of it, just fine with just a little bit of recovery action. So really good answers by both you guys. Um, Next question. This one's probably really fast answer. Should you warm up differently if you're going for like a 1 rep max versus like your normal training? I mean, I could. I'll let Isaac start. Go ahead.
Okay, this might not be the answer you expect because I actually thought about this. So it depends on how you warm up. So I actually don't warm up the exact same for each day, right? So I usually start recording my lifts like 3 warm-ups out, and then I'll adjust the weight that I jump to depending on how fast and how good that warm-up feels. So technically, on a day that I'm supposed to be PRing, I should be feeling better, so my weights will be increased. However, the system at which I warm up is still the exact same.
Jesus, what would you change about your warm up on meet day versus the gym?
Uh, I think
That might be a trick question, by the way.
it could be, but in reality, like it's pretty much the same. If anything, I structure my. It's because typically I take huge jumps. I
Yeah.
take ridiculous jumps that I do not advise everyone to take. But that's because it's like
I mean, a thousand
it's
pounds, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%.
yeah, exactly right. We're pretty much warming
Yeah.
up like red by red. But how do I say this? Because I don't typically think about PRing unless like the week before something that usually moves a lot harder moves a little bit easier, and then like the following week I have like a 7 to 8, right? And like in my head, I know for damn sure I can load up like 5 keys more than my PR at the
Mhm.
time, right? Which is, and I guess I'll try to get like a little hyper specific. Like whenever I hit 981, right? Um, my last warm up, I believe, was I think I went like 915, or maybe it was a little bit heavier. But typically, if I go over 9, I stop. I don't give a crap like what the RPE is. Like I'm very selective with my attempts as far as like top end. Like let's say I have a 7 to 8 and I hit 915 and it moves like a 7. I'm not gonna go up like 50 pounds for a real 7, like a real 8, because at that point, like, there's really no point. Like, I don't get any benefit from doing that. So if I'm like setting my mind, like, okay, I'm gonna PR, I will probably take just one more warm up. So I'll go like 8:26, second to last, and then from 8:26. Normally, if I wasn't going to PR, 8:26 would be my last warm up, and then from 8:26, I would just jump to whatever I'm feeling, right. um, let's say on a non-PR day, from 8:26, I go to like 9:15 or 9:48. But if I'm like, okay, I want to put some gas on it, I want to press the turbo a little bit, then I'm gonna go 8:26 and then take what we would normally take as an opener or something between opener to second, right? So anywhere between 9:03 to like 9:42, somewhere around there for last warm. Anyways, like on a heavy single. So if I really know, like, okay, I need one more, then it's just kind of like, so it's really just kind of taking more of a meat style attempt, I guess. So it's just getting more specific with the warm ups and not really changing anything, because from like red till then, it's literally the same. It's literally the exact same, except it's almost like I'm just taking a first attempt and a second attempt and then calling it and then moving to back downs.
We
So
made
that
such a simple question so hard.
No, it's been hard. I want people to hear you guys talk. What I'm gonna do is so this will be, I'll just do two parts. So guys, this is part one. I hope you guys got to know Isaac and Jesus a little bit more. We're gonna give you guys a couple more keys in a separate video. See you guys in the next one. Peace.